Ready? Hey, what are y'all doing? We're eating cake. This is based on my experience, a audio visual project where strangers on the internet ask questions for advice, and we strange people from the internet answer. We actually have a fan question. Did you know that we have fans, Jill?
Yeah, we got a small handful of them.
They're actually real people that we know most of
They're mostly our friends and found family, yeah.
Yeah. But this one comes from Instagram. You can find us on Instagram at Based on My Experience Pod. The full videos are on YouTube, Based on My Experience Pod. But this one comes from actually a human you know, who I've met through you.
One of my dearest friends, yes.
Yeah, and here is what the Super Stucky asks. Hi, with 3 eyes.
Hi.
So my boss is a rambler, and he admits it. He's even had his boss tell him this. So my issue is he takes so much time in meetings, going on tangents, to usual circle back at the end, but doesn't always close the loop to answer the question, if that makes sense. At that point, 15 minutes later, you forgot what you asked, and if he even answered the question, so you just say, okay, thank you.
Awesome.
He does give a lot of good info, but it's hard to even listen to. Anyways, look forward to what you think I can or should do. Oh, and he's a pacer, they say. He will get up on a Zoom call and pace back and forth in front of the screen. That's a tough one.
Okay.
I mean, with 2 parts. Let's handle the pacer on Zoom. Inappropriate.
That's so strange. The most annoying thing I've ever experienced in a Zoom was there was someone who had like an autofocus.
Oh.
So while it was in a class, so it looked, Brady Bunch squares. And every time they'd like reposition in their chair, the camera would zoom in and out and read. And I was just like, oh, please turn that off. I mean, if she was teaching the class, it would have been still annoying. So, like, I've never experienced a pacer before.
I haven't either. I don't think I've ever known anybody who just, like, got up and started moving around on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
Kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't think you can do anything about that.
No.
I have had a boss with whom it was difficult to get business done because they actually spent most of the meeting trying to find in the email the last time we talked about the subject. And so I started by bringing printed copies of anything I needed to talk about. I would not have a meeting with this person without an agenda.
Agenda's a good idea.
And I made the agenda. Like, I don't care what they wanted to happen in this meeting, but I need to do 1, 2, 3 things. A rambler can be hard to manage. Totally. I think I kind of started not interrupting, but would kind of do like a summary statement. So I hear you say this, but what about this part of my question, right? So I think to the part of the comment of like, by the time he gets 15 minutes in, I forgot what my question was. You write your question down.
Yeah. That's number 1 for me is writing things down before, during, after.
Yeah.
I guess my first question for you, though, is, are you paid hourly? Because kind of just let it happen. Let's get paid. If he's rambling, it's on him. But in all seriousness, I think sometimes I've done like the text message or the email ahead of time with the questions that you'll be bringing up in the meeting in hopes that maybe they have that a little bit more to the forefront.
Yeah.
Is something, like I said, another thing is I always write things down. I've never done quite like having an agenda, but I have like, I'll write things down and make sure I circle back in meetings. Kind of a thing. I'm not recommending this by any means, but in my military unit, there is a gentleman.
Based on Jill's experience.
My experience, there is a gentleman who does ramble, and to address this, the entire officer staff have just started taking the piss out of him, just making fun of him pretty nonstop. It's like all in good fun. I think they take it a little bit far sometimes, but it has definitely shortened his Yinzer rants.
Interesting.
And if you're not from Pittsburgh, look up Yinzers.
Yeah.
And that has helped a lot with the rants. It really has.
Do you know what I have more experience with than a rambling boss is rambling students. So I'm a professor, and I run a very discussion-based class. And so sometimes every once in a while you'll get a student who takes a long time to answer and like kind of goes in different places. And I've started doing when I'm ready to respond to something they say, I literally do this. I touch my nose and I'm like, that part.
That's great.
And I don't know why, but it kind of gets their attention to be like, you've already said the important thing, and I want to respond right away to the important thing you just said.
Yeah.
So please stop here.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I get excited about answering them or also contributing to the conversation, and that kind of helps them like come to a close.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I definitely have had those students that feel like they want it to be a conversation between you and them.
Yeah.
And that is class. No one else matters. So that's good. I wish I could have used that once or twice. The one thing that is very prominent in this conversation comment/question though is like the frustration of it.
Yeah.
And for situations like that, I always have the exact same answer to work frustrations. And the only thing that's
quit.
We need our money.
No, I'm kidding.
Is how to make it funny.
Mm.
And for me, and this is just me and my family, is I always make bingo cards of the things that make me infuriated, irate, start to lose my mind. And that keeps it funnier and less awful. I had a coworker once who everyone thought of him as the nicest guy you ever met. Like willing to give you the shirt off his back. In fact, I think I saw him do that once. But I, from knowing him, knew it was all a show because he wanted to be known as that guy. And he absolutely got on my last nerve and was an awful coworker once I saw behind the curtain, as it were.
Yeah.
And the only thing that kept me sane, because I had to work with him for like 3 months, was I made bingo cards every day of like his biggest nonsense and like his catchphrases and he used to do this chef's puff thing whenever he'd tell you how amazing his day was. And
oh, wow.
Right.
Weaponized positivity. Weaponized friendship.
Yes, that was exactly what it was. It actually bit me in the ass too, because he had asked for so many favors and given so many favors that people were asking me for my equipment.
Oh.
But he said that he owed me a favor, and I'm like, no. Yeah, so like stuff like that. The only thing is to find the humor in the situation. Make it funny, like How I Met Your Mother episode where that one newscaster, they used to put hats on him to make his obnoxiousness funny. So like I said, I'll do bingo cards, like and the thing that happens every day is the free space.
Yeah.
And that find the funny. It might be something different for you, but
there's absolutely, in the question too, there's a power differential and a gender differential, which I totally can see how that makes it more complicated, like how to respond to a boss, a male boss. I don't know. I think they're like the interrupting feels like it could be, you can do that in a way that's not obnoxious. The interrupting, like I said, like I interrupt with excitement. If I interrupt with a restatement or I interrupt with that part, like I got it, next. I think a self-proclaimed rambler who knows that about themselves might actually just be looking for someone to give them the cue.
Yeah, can you ask them if they're open to a symbol like, steel third or whatever kind of, this is going too far kind of thing. Are they open to that, knowing that they are a rambler? Or will they get offended, which I've also come across.
That may be.
My mom was always tell me if I become like my father and just start rambling. And now we tell her and she gets very mad.
So they asked for it and then they didn't want it.
No.
In the end.
She did not. She did not want it.
That's funny.
Yeah, but that's...
What are other things? So I've also, people who come to my office hours and won't leave. There are certain people for whom I start the meeting with, I have exactly 5 minutes. And in 5 minutes, I need to accomplish 1, 2, 3. So can we do those 3 first and then we can talk more about other things? Or I have to leave at this time. And I've walked out of my own office with nowhere to go. Yeah. I've just been like, I'm leaving now. Disappear for a second and then come back.
Oh, yeah. I'll say for like, again, with my mother, I'll say, hey, I only have a few minutes.
Yeah.
And then I really have to go. And that usually shortens.
Yeah.
And hopefully you get a more distilled version.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So based on our experience, let's give like 2 or 3. Let's do the.
Make it
this
funny.
Is what I would do. at the end of the meeting too, I always do like a wrap up, like
There you
this
go.
is what we agreed upon, and state it back to them what they told me. Okay, so you said
Make it funny.
Make it funny.
Mm-hmm.
I think structure encounters, agenda, time limit, and like make it very clear. I have exactly this much time. Answer my questions before I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do anything about the pacing.
Writing things down. I don't think so, unless you can get someone to say, like, I'm car sick, it makes me nauseous.
Yeah.
But that might be taking it a little too far. It really depends, man. That could like
Yeah.
be kind of crazy.
Yeah.
That's when you turn the camera off and just listen to the person.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, I have a Zoom question for you, Jill. Are you a hide self view, or do you look at yourself?
I look at myself.
I look at myself too. My therapist won't let me anymore. She's like, you gotta hide yourself.
That's
And
fantastic.
I'm like, I don't think so.
I had a
I don't
classmate
think so, Lizzie.
that loved the see yourself feature.
Yeah.
And I used to watch him fix his hair
Yeah.
in the camera during Zoom classes. And I was bored in one class and I started doing little check marks for every time I saw him. I stopped counting after like 25.
My fixes are mostly like, what are my eyebrows doing? Like, soften this line. Don't make a line. Don't make your 11s. And also these teeth. You have the most beautiful teeth.
For me, it's my hair.
Yeah.
I have a second part, and it does what it wants, and so I could gel it and all that. And it doesn't matter. It's gonna it does that automatically.
Yeah.
My hair's final form is just vertical.
I love
That's what it wants to be at all times.
Great. I like how we're getting closer to the same haircut these days.
Oh yeah. Well, I've been rocking the lesbian Clark Kent for
You've been doing it beautifully.
years.
You've been doing it beautifully. I'm going for like the Tilda Swinton version.
I'm appreciating
and
the silver.
And Tilda Swinton these days kind of has like a thing
Iconic.
that I can sometimes make happen.
I feel like I should be wearing my Superman shirt. I was wearing it yesterday. So, in the meanwhile, I did want to circle back and ask you your thoughts on the podcast and vlog.
You wanted to do that on camera?
Yeah.
Oh.
I want to circle back. Well, because we're answering questions. We've only had one
true.
yet.
That's true.
And I just want to know, how is this experience been
How's
for
it
you?
going? I'm having a good time. I like our little time limit. We're watching our time tick up. It has been fun. So the last time I did a podcast, it was almost exclusively people that I knew, but YouTube, strangers, algorithms, people just show up. So it's been very cool. There was a lovely comment from someone on one of our YouTube videos that was like, I'm a 62-year-old woman and I would love to be your aunt/mom. And I was like,
I want more aunties. Yes,
being
please.
an aunt is the best part of my life. Like, it is my truest form is Aunt Care Bear. And give us your internet aunties.
I
can't
love
wait.
me some aunties.
What are you
Please,
thinking? How
please
you
adopt
feeling?
me. It's been really good. I found myself like listening to one of our old ones and just being, because I thought I would cringe so hard I might die. But that was actually really affirming, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe that wasn't so bad, and it sound quite as much like Ellen as I used to. It's still there, but it's not as.
I get it. I get it.
And I've never been like a likes person, but
Yeah.
like when I saw we went from like 2, which was us following ourselves, to like 50 followers, that was just like, that made me feel like part of the conversation. And that's my goal, especially, is to just make a space where people can just chat and have that conversation. So that's been a lot of fun, and I hope we can continue to do that.
Yeah. So you can follow us on Instagram at Based on My Experience Pod. You've probably found us on YouTube already, Based on My Experience Pod. Send us your questions and comments.
And aunties.
DMs. We welcome those. One of us will check them eventually.
Yeah.
Probably. We'll give you advice. Remind people what we're good at giving advice on. Food.
Definitely food. Gardening. Chaos.
Parties.
Good at that.
ADHD. We're getting close.
Mental health.
So much discussion even before the camera today about our anxious attachment styles. We've had a lot of therapy and we're ready to spread it around.
We're just going to share. I got therapy in an hour.
All right, well, hashtag BOME based on my experience. Bye.